here we are. Welcome to our birth story.
We wanted to just capture down as much as we can remember about the whole experience because, oh man, it's been a crazy few days. Life's been a blur. It's been blissful, incredible, amazing, the most amazing few days of my life.
It's been the best. I'm already gonna cry. Yep. We should have a little tally mark when I cry in this video. Ding. It's honestly been the best days of my life. I have never been happier in my entire life. Truly. We wanted to just share that joy in our story with you and mainly just to have this documentation for ourselves. 5 days since our little boy entered into the world. Today is November 18th and baby's due date was November 17th. So he came 4 days early. We're very happy about that. I wanted him to come early. Without further ado, let's get on into it.
Rewind.
Rewind back to November 12th. I woke up, came and laid down on this couch. My angel husband is just making me breakfast and I was kind of feeling a little crampy, but I'd been feeling like super subtle cramps for like 5 weeks at this point. So I didn't think anything and I go, okay, this is kind of uncomfortable. I'm just gonna get up and do some yoga, maybe some Pilates. And I stood up and I felt a small gush of water and I just ran to the bathroom and I go, Jake, I think my water just broke. So he comes, are you serious? And he comes running in.
Maybe she was kidding. She's just pulling a prank. It had happened before.
Jake said, yep, your water broke.
It wasn't as much as I thought it would be, but it was definitely, to me, it was obvious. Okay,
yeah, it wasn't like the movies. I was thinking there would be like a gush of water. It was not like that. But then we called the birth center. Birth center said, oh, if your water broke, come straight in. Also, we live an hour and 20 minutes away from the hospital.
A bit of a drive.
Yes. I wasn't really pressed for time. So, you know, we're like packing up last minute things. Jake finishes making breakfast. We're just kind of chilling. Not really sure if they're contractions at this point. Everyone says, oh, when it's a contraction, you'll know. Kind of tracking these things and they're getting closer together. And I go, okay, Jake, we should go. We'll pack our stuff in the car, hop in the car, and make the trek. An hour and a half.
And your phone directions took us away I'd never been before, so that was a little stressful.
Yeah, that was weird. I'm like, is this
this back neighborhood, and then there was this construction dump truck blocking the road for a while.
Yeah, people are cutting us off, stopping traffic, and I'm going, people, do you not know what's going on?
This is not the time.
This is not the time.
So her water breaks at 8:50 a.m. By the time we get to the hospital, it's like 11:45.
I walk up and say, my water broke, I'm here to check in, see if I'm in labor.
They take you back to triage.
Yeah. So
but I can't come in because COVID protocol.
It's so dumb. Yeah, so they took me into triage and they said, we're going to check your water to make sure that it is in fact your water that has broke. And we'll check your dilation and go from there. They said it was a 10-minute test. So I'm sitting in triage in the gown by myself, breathing through these contractions. And the lady comes in, does a swab, checks me, takes the test, and says, see you in 10.
They don't get her results back to her until like 12:30. That's when they tell you,
no, it's not your water. And I'm going, what? Because I'm just sitting there and water's just coming out of me. And so then she checked me. She said I was dilated to a 3, which she said you could have been dilated to a 3 for 3 weeks. We just don't know because I never got tested. I didn't personally want to. I was a little discouraged and she said, you can leave, you can go back home. And I go, what do you mean? I'm not going back home. Like, this is my water. I know it's my water. And I live an hour and 15 minutes away. I'm not going to drive home. And she said, well, you could just go walk around Target. A lot of people like to walk around Target. You know, you could just do some shopping. And I'm going, I showed her my phone. I said, do you see these contractions? They're happening as frequently as 5 minutes to every 1 minute apart. She goes, well, I mean, it looks like it's your water, but again, I can't check you into the hospital unless it is your water or if you're dilated to a 4. She said, if you want, you can stay in triage. I'm going to grab the doctor, have you meet her, because it was a different doctor on call that day. And the doctor came in to check how far I was dilated. That was only the second time I'd been checked before, and it's obviously very uncomfortable. And she said, well, what's your birth plan? And I said, oh, I want to do it naturally. And she goes, If you want to do it naturally, then you better learn how to relax because you're so tense during this. I can't even check you because you're so tense. She was kind of rude. And that got in my head because I'm going, oh my gosh, I need to relax. And this is my doctor who's saying this to me, even though I never met her. That was just annoying that I just met her and she's already saying these things about my birth plan. So she checked me. I was then at a 6. And this was at what time?
It was 2 o'clock.
2 hours after getting into triage, I was to a 6. And that was so comforting because that was quick. So then she took the test off, came back, and she said, again, it's testing negative, but she said, now we're convinced that it's your water. And she said, it looks like it's your water. I don't know why the test is coming back negative, but great news, you get to be admitted. And I'm just going, hallelujah, because I was strapped down to the heart monitor the whole time. Well, not the whole time, but I said, please get me off of this monitor. I cannot have these contractions sitting down. It was so restricting and my body was just not liking just sitting through them. I had to rock back and forth. I wanted to sway. I wanted to walk around the room. Obviously, that was really hard because I was just glued to the chair, the bed. And it was super hard because Jake wasn't in there. We practiced these things. He was going to be my coach and help me through all of these contractions. And so the fact that I was in there for over 2 hours by myself was just frustrating. But then I was so glad that they said, you can be admitted. We're going to take you to your room.
I got the text at 2 o'clock saying you were dilated to a 6 and we're being admitted. So I go back to the room pretty much immediately. But I feel like it took another 30, 45 minutes till you actually came back. So I don't know what was going on.
They had to do a COVID test.
Oh, I didn't know they did it then.
She sticks the thing up my nose, pulls it out, and immediately just blood starts gushing out. It was the worst bloody nose that I've had. Never had a bloody nose in my life until my pregnancy. And
the last week of her pregnancy.
Yeah, there were a couple in there during, but yeah, mainly the last week of my pregnancy, I was getting them 1 or 2 times a day. But anyway, I'm like, oh, I have a bloody nose. It's dripping all over my gown. It's down my face. But then they got all worried about that.
They were trying to manage your bloody nose for a while.
Yeah.
You come to the room. I'm waiting for you. I'm all happy. Hey, check out this room. We got the mountain view, which we were hoping for because it's just an epic view.
Of Hawaii. It's just
Hawaiian mountains.
picturesque.
Just beautiful. And Brooke's like, I don't care, don't even want to look at it. She just didn't
But
even look up.
I didn't even say that. I'm just like, did I? He goes,
thought
look
you
at
did.
the room, look, oh,
But you
it's
might have just said,
At our birth center, you labor, you deliver, and you recover in the same room. And so the bed was in there, the scale, everything was in there, like all super surreal. And then you have the beautiful view. And Jake was just all so excited. He hadn't seen me since like 3 hours prior. I'm just in the zone.
said, first things first, we need to get an IV in you because we're worried about you losing so much blood and need to make sure you're hydrated and all that.
So they kept trying to put in the IV. They did one here, they did one here, switched nurses. She came in, tried here, failed, got the 3rd nurse and finally got it into my vein here. I have never had an issue getting an IV, getting blood drawn. Then they were worried about it because it took 3 nurses.
Once they got your IV in, yeah, they drew
blood.
2 vials of blood to get tested.
Yeah, to
She
get
came back saying your hemoglobin was low. Most of your platelets were low, which clots your blood. So if you can't clot, then if you do have a bleed, you'll just keep bleeding, which when you give birth, you bleed a lot. So they were pretty worried about it.
The doctor came in after those results came back and she said, we know that you didn't want any medication or anything, but we have to run a line of Pitocin through you after you deliver your baby because that will help with the excess bleeding so that you don't hemorrhage. I was super opposed to Pitocin specifically. I said, don't put anything in my IV because I haven't had the baby yet and you don't know what my blood's going to look like or be like until after I have the baby. But once we get there, we can talk about it. Obviously, it's to that point, I'm going to take Pitocin, but you don't need to just run it through me just because. She said, okay, yeah, sounds good to me. So she left. I'm just in the room, I'm laboring, sitting on the birth ball, kind of just rocking back and forth. And then after that, I switched to just standing with my elbows on the bed. swaying back and forth. It's just funny because I totally went into all of this thinking, I'm gonna use these combs for pressure points. Jake's gonna use pressure points on my back and on my feet, and Jake's gonna massage me. In between contractions, we're gonna be
get
laughing.
The essential oils going.
Yeah, all these essential oils.
Set up the music if you hadn't said that already.
Yeah, with the speaker. And I used nothing except for the breathing techniques and just moving my body. They would have to check my vitals every so often, and that was the worst. To switch positions was a very difficult thing for me. Yeah, Jake's like, okay, maybe now you should stand, and I'm like, I can't move. I don't know, it was just such a task to try to think about moving positions.
You were just really in the zone. She was so focused and so in control. She was really managing her breathing, staying on top of it. But I feel like your contractions were so frequent and consistent the entire time. They were
so close together the whole time.
I was thinking it would be spaced apart and you visibly
like
be able to see them ramp
minutes.
up, but I feel like they were intense and just frequent. I could see it on the chart.
And Jill came, and Jill was an awesome nurse. She came in, she's like...
Jill was the one that got her with the IV the third time.
Oh, she was?
One and done. Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, they brought Jill in, pro.
Didn't even know. All the other nurses, they were great, but I just don't think that they could pick up that I was just focusing and I was in the zone. And so they'd come in and I'm mid-contraction and they'd say, can we take your vitals? And I'm just
yeah.
And Jake's like, she's having a contraction right now.
Maybe new, but let's just wait till in between contractions to hook her up or stick her with the IV. You don't need to do it at the peak of a contraction, but...
Yeah, so Jake was my spokesperson the entire time. But Jill came in and she was awesome because none of the other nurses had even said anything to me like, you're doing great or anything. It was just kind of like, hey, I'm a nurse. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to take your vitals, so let's do this. But Jill came in and she just ever so slightly touched me. She's like, you're doing so amazing, Brooke. My name's Jill. And she was so calm. She said, I'm going to be the next nurse.
At 5:20, they check you again. They want to see where you're at, if you're progressing. And she's at an 8. Jill checked her. She said, let's get in the bathtub. It'll be great to labor there this last kind of mile. To get you to a 10, that'll help you just dilate through. So then we go get in the bathtub. Well, you do. I could visibly notice a difference of you handling the contractions. They seemed a lot more manageable, maybe less intense, at least visibly. You looked like you were in less pain.
I really was considering doing a water birth because they say it is the closest thing to an epidural.
Naturally.
Yeah, naturally.
So you handled it super well in the bathtub. Really cool. We were there for 2.5 hours. That was great. Just keeping the hot water, trying to keep the bathtub warm. Yeah, he kept just
filling it up with hot water. And then Jill came.
This is where she said, we want to check you again, but the doctor wants to check you. And Brooke said, can you please check me? She's pretty rough. You're super gentle. Can you do it? And Jill's like, the doctor really wants to check you herself because, well, she doesn't believe that you were at an 8. And we're like, what?
I really could not talk the entire day. I was in a completely different zone.
That was one of the first times you said something to the nurse?
Yeah, that was
when
you
talked to Jill and you were like,
yep.
Can you please do it instead of the other doctor? Up until that point, like,
I hadn't really talked.
I think I had done all the talking with the nurses. You pretty much...
I was just in the zone.
Man, she was crushing it. She was just focused, breathing through, staying on top of it, just in such control of her head, of her body, just riding the waves.
Yeah. Jake was awesome. Every contraction, he would just say, you're killing it, you're doing so good, you're just breathing through, you're riding this wave. And that was so helpful. After I was done with the contraction, he'd go, that was such a good one, good job, you're one contraction closer to meeting our baby. And just those little things were so helpful, even though I just wasn't saying anything. Yeah, like Jake said, she doesn't believe that you're at an 8. And I thought...
Are you a new nurse or something?
Yeah. She doesn't believe the nurse. She thinks, oh, like, you don't know how to check to see if someone's dilated, so I'll check.
So, jump forward to after the birth. The doctor came in and told Brooke, you did absolutely amazing. I don't even see people on medicated births handle contractions and handle the entire labor and delivery as well as you did. And she came in and just kind of praised her for how well she did and how well she maintained her composure, her poise, her focus, her control, her breathing throughout. She said, I didn't believe you were at an 8 because people dilated to an 8 don't look the way you did at an 8. And that's why she didn't believe the nurse. She was like, you're not at an 8. So she wanted to check her herself. So anyway.
It was a very sweet compliment because the whole time that she was with me, she wasn't...
She was a little doubting.
Yeah, she was, that's a good word. Yeah, she was just kind of doubting me the whole time. It meant a lot that she came in the next day and kind of asked how I was doing and said that to me. But anyway, yeah, so going back, so she said, yeah, she doesn't believe me that you're at an 8, so she wants to check you. Checked me, I was at a 9.5. This was at
7:25. The doctor said, pretty much as soon as you feel pressure, you can start pushing. Just call me in, let me know.
No, I didn't know that.
You're basically there. She said, as soon as you feel the pressure, that's when you're good to go.
Finally, at
9, you start pushing.
At 9 p.m. So mind you, my water broke at 9 a.m. Yeah. Now I'm at 9 p.m. I'm finally at a 10.
Which I guess is just an hour and a half, but man, that felt long. Oh man, you were doing so well, but they were getting really intense. And you would just say to me, I'm just so tired. I'm just so exhausted. You visibly were trying to stay awake and just fighting through these. Yeah. And that was really hard to watch. I'm saying prayers. I'm pleading, please let this baby come soon. Let her get through this. Give her the strength to finish this out. 9 o'clock, I say to Brooke, you are ready to push. This is it. And I'm thinking, man, she's so tired. She needs energy to push this baby out. Like, I didn't know what was going through your mind, but you were saying things like, I just don't know if I'm ready to push. I don't want to push longer than I have to. I want to go through these contractions as long as possible to be as dilated. So pushing's as easy as possible. It
was mainly the fact, honestly, that I had to get up and sit into the bed. That was the hardest. It was such a mental block for me because I knew that position made the contractions so much more intense that I didn't want to be in that position. I said a prayer and I said, okay, Heavenly Father, if I'm supposed to start pushing, then I need Jake to say, okay, on the count of 3, we're going to get you off of the ball and we're going to get you into the bed. And no joke, I went through 1 cycle of contractions and Jake said, okay, on the count of 3, we're going to get you standing up and get you into the bed and start pushing. I mean, that is like the clearest of clearest answers. It was so amazing. I'm just going, oh my gosh, wow. But at the same time, I'm not really thinking about it that much. So I get into the bed.
They come check you.
They come check me. 10, you're ready to push.
The doctor was there at first, saw kind of where she was at, and said, okay, leave her with the nurse for a while, and then I'll come in later, basically at the end. So you pushed for the most part with just the 3 of us. And you said it actually felt good to push when the contractions came.
I said that?
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
I'd heard that. It was a different nurse, and she was pretty quiet, I think just because she had seen that I was so in the zone the whole time and that Jake and I kind of just were vibing off of each other, and that was kind of all we needed. It was really cool because Jake was actually the one who was telling me, like, keep pushing. And, you know, slowly I was just pushing the baby further and further down, and then Jake goes, oh my goodness, I can see his head. And the nurse, she wasn't really saying anything, which was really special. She was doing the counting,
which was nice.
Yeah, she was doing the counting.
Just tracking the contraction, how
Breathe
long
in,
it lasts.
Push.
Counting to 10 while she's pushing and all that. But everything else, was cool.
Yeah, it was just between us two. So I pushed for 2.5 hours.
You were tired.
I was so tired.
During pushing, you were exhausted.
I was so
She'd take
tired.
these little mini power naps in between contractions. And there were a few times where I felt like the contractions just weren't coming.
Yeah.
And I was praying that you'd be able to just get some rest before the final pushes, that this baby would come soon. But man, I felt like those breaks were just a blessing. Or it would go a minute, 2.
I felt like it was like
maybe
10
3
minutes in
of
between.
just nothing, and you were able to just sleep.
Yeah. It
crazy.
felt so long to me because everyone's just kind of sitting there waiting for me to have a contraction. I'm just kind of like, am I having them still? And I kept saying, am I making progress? Because I feel like I've been pushing for a long time, which I had, 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And I I kept saying, am I making progress? Am I making progress? And I go, I'm just so tired. That's when I started to kind of get into my head a little bit.
Yeah, and you verbally told me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do this much longer.
I don't know how much longer I can do this.
Yeah.
Then I felt the ring of fire.
It was crazy.
Oh my gosh. It hurt so bad. So bad. If people want to say that contractions are bad, do not. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ring of fire is real. At that point, I wanted the next push to be so quick because it would relieve that pressure.
And each time I thought the next push would be the
last. And you kept saying that, was just messing with me.
Like,
Jake kept saying, the next push. This one more push, and you got it. Here. This is the last one. He's here. You're so close to meeting your son. And I would push them all. Am I making progress? And I just kept saying that. Am I making progress? And they're going, yes, 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 you are. And I'm going, okay, what? Then why is Jake telling me that I'm about to meet my son?
Each time, I think it's his whole head, but there's just more.
That was really painful, and at that point, I am praying, please let it be the next set of contractions. Yeah. Please let it be this one. Please let it be this one. And I was getting just so tired. And
just tearing me up. It was hard to watch. You just going through so much pain. And there were a couple contractions, and by a couple I mean maybe 4 or 5 throughout entire labor, where you would kind of moan or groan or like that hurts. All the rest you just breathe through, but pushing at the end, that was probably the only time you were verbally hurting. It was controlled and it was so sweet, but it was so sad. But you did so good. She was so still determined and confident and in control, even though it was hurting. I can only imagine. You did so good.
Thank you.
You crushed it.
The doctor said, okay, wow, this is it. This is the last set. Is that okay, Brooke? Keep push. You gotta just do it. Okay, can you do an extra one? Can you do an extra one? Push. And I'm like, no, I can't, because you're just so tired. But I did one extra push, and then she pulled him out and put him on my chest, and it was just like the best moment of my life.
Yeah. And he was like a complete change. All of a sudden, all this energy and just love for that little human.
Yeah, it was amazing. They put him straight onto my chest, and he laid there for 2 hours after I delivered.
And he was so alert, just looking
He was
up
so
at her.
Awake, just looking at me, and immediately he grabbed my finger, and I was like, oh, I love you so much.
Yeah. So special. Most amazing moment of my life today.
Yeah.
So incredible to see all that she went through, all that work and pain and labor, and then just the most miraculous, amazing moment. Everybody was healthy, happy. He came out perfect, perfectly beautiful, perfectly healthy.
Yeah, he is perfect. He came out with a full head of hair, with big, big eyes, and the sweetest countenance. I feel like he has the sweetest spirit. We honestly just feel like the luckiest parents, the luckiest people in the world. I don't know what we did to get to be his parents.
We love you, bud. And then he was here, and then the next few days in the hospital were all kind of a blur and just pure bliss.
Pure bliss.
You didn't sleep for 2.5 days. I caught a little 2-hour nap in there. You, I don't think ever fell asleep.
I didn't, because I was just holding him, and I was on such a high. I've never been on such a huge high in my life.
Still on it?
Yeah, but I mean to the point where, I was so exhausted from working my body the entire day, and then all of a sudden I did not care. I did not want to sleep. Everyone was saying, sleep when baby sleeps. And I'm just going, yeah, it's fine. I can sleep when I'm dead, because I just want to stare at him. He's perfect. And that's what I did. And I did want to say, right after they said, hook up Brooke to Pitocin. And I said, well, how's my bleeding? And she said, oh, well, it's fine right now. And I said, then why are you going to hook me up to Pitocin? She said, well, just in case. And I said, no, I'm good. First it was kind of like, so do you want me to do it or not? And the doctor goes, okay, I mean, if she doesn't want it. And I said, well, I trust you. If I need Pitocin, then we can do that. But if my bleeding's under control, then I don't want to just give my body Pitocin.
Just to do it, right?
Yeah. and fast forward, I didn't need it. So I was really, really glad for that. Honestly, my whole birth plan and the prep that I did and what I had in my head, I couldn't have asked for a better birth, labor and delivery.
Yeah.
Well, besides, you know, maybe make it like be a little faster. But besides that, it was perfect. I could not have asked for a better cheerleader slash coach partner.
You went
Perfect.
so well, and she did so amazing. At the end, for the delivery, you may not have noticed, but a bunch of nurses came in to watch. Word spread that you were just doing this naturally and doing it so well that people came to watch. After you gave birth to the baby, nurses were just coming up to you one after the other, congratulating and complimenting her. Said, that was amazing what you did. You did that so well. You were so strong, so in control. You should be so proud of yourself. Good job. That was pretty cool. And for our entire stay there at the hospital, nurses would come in and say, wow, we heard how good of a job you did. Nice heart. So blessed. Just everybody's healthy. I mean, look at her. This is day 5. Oh, yeah, she gives birth, and then just a few minutes. You get up, walk to the bathroom on your own, go to the bathroom, no problem. Whatever. Maybe some problem. Maybe the story's different from her end, but from my end, no problem. She's up, moving around, doing great. Which I'm sure is just all thanks to doing it natural and just how well you did it yourself, I think, is why you're recovering so well and doing so great. You did such a good job. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
That was so impressive. My love and respect for her through the roof, beyond my expectations. We've come together so much through this.
We really have. We've never been closer.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Ever.
Ever. She was incredible, and I don't think I'll ever be able to make up to her what she's done for us and our family.
Oh, whatever.
I'll not be able to repay that. Wow. Yeah. No words, really.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Look who's awake. Say hello. He's got the hiccups.
He always has the hiccups. Yeah, here he is. The cutest little boy ever. He was born at 12:01.
November 13th.
12:01 a.m.
Yep. Just snuck in the next day.
He just wanted to be able to have the whole day to celebrate his birthday. He weighed 7'5", and his name is Elieson Blue. And we love him so much.
Welcome to the world, buddy.
Welcome to your world.
You got so much to show him.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for watching. We hope that you guys enjoyed this little video. We love you guys. Bye.
Yeah.